Hi, my name is Laura Reagan, and for my book talk, I picked the book Out of My Mind by Sharon M. Draper. This book is about a young girl named Melody who suffers from cerebral palsy. This disease left her unable to speak or have any real range of motion. We see that her parents are very big advocates for her, not allowing authority figures such as doctors decide that she needs to be in a residential facility or have teachers tell them that she's not going to amount for much. Another big parental figure to Melody is a woman named Miss V who watches Melody every day after school. She really did not allow Melody to feel sorry for herself. Even as a baby, she was encouraging Melody to use her body as much as possible to grab toys, and really just learn to make the world around her work for her. And as she got older, she encouraged her to use her mind by watching the Discovery Channel, by learning new vocabulary words, by laying out index cards for her. She would tell her the definition, and Melody would pick the right word. They would construct sentences using these index cards, and she really just was a key factor in raising Melody's confidence in what her abilities were. For the majority of this book, we see Melody in fifth grade. She's part of a special education classroom, and she really struggles inside of this class because the teachers do not do a very good job of individualizing education. In this class, it's a very mixed group of kids with different disabilities and different abilities, and they kind of just clump them together and believe that they don't expect a lot of these children. They do things such as going over the alphabet over and over again, and it really becomes redundant and frustrates Melody. We really don't see Melody blossom until she has the opportunity to become part of an inclusion classroom setting where she gets to go for part of her school day and be involved in a normal fifth grade classroom. Here she has a student aide who is able to help her do things to participate in the conversation. She helps her answer questions using her communication board. And Melody really starts to love school again and thrive on what her abilities are and love education. But she starts to notice that these children aren't very welcoming to her. And she becomes self-conscious about what her actions are and how she conducts herself. She makes sure that she's not drooling or twitching or making weird noises, and it really becomes taxing on Melody to be nitpicking her actions every day. Despite the fears that she had, her parents, a Miss V, and her student aide really push her to become part of this trivia team where they go and compete against other schools. And Melody really loves this competition, but again, she struggles with how her peers perceive her. But despite that all, she goes out for it and makes the team. She actually does very, very well. And her team makes it to the Washington, D.C. finals. Unfortunately, the discrimination continues even within the teacher. The students don't believe that she belongs on the team, and the teacher really doesn't believe in her abilities, even though that she proved herself. She proves herself intellectually, but they struggle to include her in the social aspect of the team. They end up meeting for breakfast before their plane ride to Washington, D.C., and the initial plan that they were going to take ends up getting canceled. Because the team was meeting early, they were able to catch an earlier flight, but because Melody was excluded from that experience, they missed the flight that the team went on, and they were not able to go compete in Washington, D.C. This really disappointed Melody and really instated in her that I'm never going to be part of this group, and it was very taxing on her image of herself and what she believed her future might hold. She spends some time reflecting, and the adults that she has in her life really do encourage her and tell her that it was their loss that she wasn't there. They end up getting ninth place, and when the team returns, they offer the trophy to Melody as kind of a peace offering, but Melody rejects it because they've rejected her, and she returns to her special ed classroom where she knows that those students understand her and understand the struggles that she deals with because they deal with them too. Throughout the book, we see Melody really struggle to accept her disability and the fact that she will never be able to function like a normal child. She really resents the fact that she can't feed herself or carry out a conversation like the normal kids can. She really wants that connection from other peers and really struggles to find it. She has little moments of it, but at the end of the book, she really doesn't seem like she wants to be part of the inclusion classroom anymore because they rejected her so harshly. Um, Thankfully, what she did learn, though, was at the beginning of the book, we see her kind of resent her special ed um, students that she was around because she didn't want to be like them. She wanted to be in the other class. She didn't see herself as part of their community because she was more mentally advanced than they were. And towards the end of the book, she realizes that these people are genuine and they understand the hurt that she goes through because they face it too. And she realizes that she can have a community that she wants and she can have the friendship she wants. It may not look like the way she thought it would. The visual aid that I picked to represent this book was a photo of Stephen Hawking and his assistive technology. The reason I picked this was Stephen Hawking was actually what inspired Melody to seek out her assistive technology. She saw him using it and realized that he is one of the most brilliant men on the planet, and that if he can do it, why can't she? He was really an inspirational point to her and really a turning point in her life on her views of herself and what she was able to accomplish. I wanted to share a passage out of the book that really highlights the mental struggle that Melody was going through at the time, right before the competition. And she said, it's hard to put my feelings into words that will come out right on my talker. I know that the kids are uncomfortable with me on the team. There's no other way to put it. My presence was cute at first, but maybe okay for a local competition. But for the big game on national television, that's difficult. I'll make them stand out, and not in a good way. I picked this passage because it really does show the turmoil that Melody goes through, and it really allows you to see just how hard it is in her life to just go through day to day and to find things that aren't even a question for us, such as being able to connect with another human being. She really does feel alone a lot of the time. She has her family members, but she sees other kids joking and laughing, and she knows that she'll never be able to be part of that. It's hard for me to pick an exact recommendation on who should read this. I do believe it is a book for middle schoolers and up. It is a little bit of a difficult read, and it could be interpreted the wrong way. I really believe this is a book made for people who don't struggle with disabilities, and it's a window into what a person with a disability's life is. It allows someone who doesn't struggle with that to really see what their actions do and that they should put a little bit of a foot forward on helping those kids feel included, and not just a little pat on the back, but really treating them like a normal person, because they are, and you don't know what's inside their head. They struggle to communicate, but that doesn't mean they're less than. What I did like about this book was at the end, it wasn't necessarily a happy ending. In fact, I really don't think it was. But what it was that Melody finally filled her shoes and she realized that she is worth it despite what other people think. Nothing changed about her situation, nothing changed about those kids, but what changed was her view of herself. She knew that she could do what those other kids could do, and she had found a way to do it, and if they didn't want to accept her, that was their problem. She knew she was worth it, she knew she had the ability, and she was going to go find the connection that she needed somewhere else. The assistive technology that Melody uses is a MediTalker. It is a high-tech technology that allows her to type out words and then they speak it to her, speak it out for her. So this is a text-to-speech communication device. And if I had a student like Melody in my classroom, what I would do is adjust my assignments so that they were more easily for her to do. She had to type everything out, which was fine. She got her assignments done. But I wouldn't necessarily make a bunch of assignments where she had to talk in class because it takes a very long time for her to talk and she might feel self-conscious about that. The other main point that I would focus on is treating her just like everyone else. We didn't see the teacher in her classroom really give her the benefit of the doubt. He assumed that she couldn't before he learned. I would expect the same amount of work from her that I did from everybody else. She had the ability, might take her longer, and I'd give her the accommodations for that. But I think attitude plays a big role in this. I'd also implement projects where she could interact with her other students in ways that she was able to. Maybe things like doing a Jeopardy game where they could study together. That didn't all have, where she didn't have to have long segments where she had to talk, but she could participate. I hope that you guys take a chance to read this book. I'm definitely going to recommend it for my students if they ever struggle with learning how to accept others. Thank you.